Show. My name is Ellen Rogin, and as always, I have guests to help you in every area of your life, especially your business. And I am so excited to introduce you to our guest, Lisa Greensill. Lisa and I met through a mentor that I have in Melbourne, Australia, and she's working with as well, and he introduced us. And I was so excited before I even met Lisa. I was all over her websites and just so excited about the work she does with advisors. A lot of her work is in Australia, but she focuses on financial people in financial services, financial advisors, and mortgage brokers. And such a aligned, innovative take on marketing for advisors. I said, oh my gosh, we have to bring her in for our community here. So, Lisa, thank you for being here. And
Thanks,
yeah,
Ellen. Great to be here.
I want to give part of your official bio besides my
Okay.
informal way that we met, just so the audience knows who you are. Lisa Greensill is a marketing advisor and co-creator of Brand Over, which is a creative collaboration focused on taking the bland out of financial brands. And I so love that because when I'm doing coaching with advisors or they sign up for my classes, I always go to their websites, and bland is what I see over and over. It's so rare that I see anything that is other than that. And so that's why I was so excited about Lisa's work. She does help financial advisors find their edge to tell their story in a way that clicks with perfect fit clients using authenticity as their X factor. Lisa has worn lots of hats in financial services over the last 2 decades, from marketing support at a licensee to a brand manager at a fast-growing financial planning practice to operations manager at a mortgage brokerage business. And so she gets what you all do. With this Jill of all trades, marketing experience, her energetic approach, Lisa has found her groove in helping advisors be relatable, memorable, and referable through consulting and done for you creative services. And it hasn't gone unnoticed. In 2022, she was named Independent Financial Advisors Marketing Consultant of the Year and Women in Finance Marketing Professional of the Year in Australia. How cool is that? And the interesting synergistic thing, and Lisa, I don't know if we've talked about this, but the fact that Cole introduced us, the way that you say you're fascinated by the emotional side of money,
Mm.
that is the thing that always fascinated me when I was an advisor and now. And you're on a mission to help advisors break out of the boring so more people can truly grasp the value of advice and feel financially at peace. So aligned with what I believe is important, and why I love working with advisors now is to make things really different for end clients. So yay, after that, hold long, I haven't stopped talking. Lisa, you get to talk now.
Hi,
I'm so excited for you to be here.
same.
Oh gosh, so tell me what some of the biggest mistakes that you see financial advisors making when it comes to their brand and marketing.
Yeah, so look, Ellen, I've been there's a few big mistakes. There's three that I see. And look, if we look at it like I was if you think of it like if you think like online dating apps, right? So ironically, I met my husband before online dating apps were even a thing. But if you think about how they work, in that people will make quick snap judgments before they say swipe right, right? So I think about like the online world for any kind of brand in the same kind of way. People are really judgy, they make quick snap judgments. And even if people have been referred, they're going to go online and they're going to like suss you out and check you out. So the three mistakes I see financial brands make is, like you said, that kind of bland and forgettable kind of effect. So just being vanilla, just completely lacking personality, uniqueness. There's, nothing that really grabs your attention. They're nice, they're fine. But that's kind of one mistake. And I think a lot of people, it seems to happen even more in financial services, particularly financial planning. And I think that's because of compliance. People think compliance means that we can't have any personality, which is far from the truth. Um, you can still be compliant and have personality. The other the other problem is you know, the narcissist kind of all about me red flag. So that's where they just talk about themselves. They're like, it's just all about the business or themselves and how great they are and all their awards and certifications and accreditations and the services they provide, but all written very much of like I, without any like consideration for who they're actually helping. So if you think about a person having a conversation, they just talk about themselves all the time and they're not actually like showing that they understand or care about the other person. That's what I find happens. And it's with a lot of professional services. I think it's very much all about them without showing that they understand the people that they help. The other one is what I call the unhinged marketing problem, which is just where advisors tend to do random acts of marketing to kind of, so they're doing something. So they might be like throwing an ad up here or like doing a newsletter here, and there's nothing coherent about it. And they're not speaking to any people. Like there's nothing, you don't kind of look at it and see that they've got it all together. They're just trying to, you know, spray and pray everything everywhere they can randomly. So they're probably the three, the all about me, the bland and forgettable, and the unhinged problems with brand and marketing.
Yeah, when you were saying the forgettable one, I'm picturing it, you know, I live in the Chicago area and there's a lot of advisors I work with that are in kind of more major cities. It's like the skyline
Yeah.
or the water. And I'm sorry if I'm insulting any of you if that's yours, but some of the website providers that are approved by broker dealers just give kind of the same thing. And I think advisors feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. And then,
Yeah, or
or
the yachts one we see a lot, like the yachts, and they might not even be somewhere that have got yachts. And that's fine if the people that you help are people that love yachting, then totally like, and there's, you know, there's always the stock photo with the retired couple who are holding hands, kissing on the beach, which completely looks stocky. You know, I think it tends to be because people want to walk the safe line. But that's definitely changing now, which is great. Because like I said, you can still be compliant and have tons of personality and stand out from the masses.
so I had shared before we started our show about how advisors sometimes tell me, well, like it doesn't really matter. Like my website, no one's like finding me on my website. So why is that a way of thinking that is not a way of thinking that your business is it is a growth way of thinking? And how would you dispute that? Like, it doesn't really matter. It looks fine. It's professional.
So I would just think about it from the viewpoint of the actual client. So I always think, even if someone's like referred, so say I get referred to someone, I will always basically get out my phone, I will Google them, and then I'll generally click around to find out as much as I can about them. And I will judge them on what their website looks like, as well as, you know, there's the Google profile and the LinkedIn profile. And I'm not the only one who does that. Like I was in a Pilates class the other day and I was talking about brand. She has a really nice brand and her message is really great. And I was telling her this exact thing, like people say to me, like my website's not important. And she said, well, I actually wouldn't work with any professional if their website looked crap, because it just shows they're not even investing in such a core part of their business. So it's interesting that that's the mindset. So I would just say it's not an uncommon thing. I hear it all the time, but I would just go, look, what do I do as a person when I'm referred to a professional? And you put it back into behavioral, like it's just how people are. And I'd have to say, like, how many people are you actually potentially losing from having your online presence not sparkling as much as you do in real life. Like it's just, you could be missing out on some incredible opportunities just by not having your, if you're incredible in real life, you should be just as incredible online.
Well, what I'm thinking about also is the positive thing about this, not only putting people off, because say a prospect was referred to 3 advisors and they all 3 have boring websites, then maybe people are like, it must be what it's like. But if they're referred to 3 and yours is really speaks differently in the words and the images, I said this in the intro, when I looked at your online presence, first of all, your pictures are great. You and your collaborators' pictures are great. The samples of the websites you've done, like this doesn't look like everybody else's. And so it could be a differentiator. There's something like 300,000 advisors in the United States.
Wow.
And
yeah.
Yes, so lots of opportunity for Lisa Greensill to meet. But like how are you going to stand out? So let's talk a bit about when someone's starting to think about their brand or what they're putting out there. You talk about how it's really important for advisors to know who their ideal clients are. Why is that so important in what they're putting out there, and how is that used in creating marketing messages or their presence online?
Cool. So yeah, it's actually just the core, the most important part. So when I start working with advisors, this is the biggest part that we do, and it's actually very challenging for advisors because they'll usually say, "Oh yeah, I help people who are pre-retirees who've got like literally the line will be, I help pre-retirees who've got this much investable assets." That's not how people see themselves in the real world. And also that doesn't really, how do you communicate with that? There's like millions of people who actually fit that. So the clearer you are about your clients, down to like, I get advisors to profile individual people. And like I'm actually going to do it with a client today. And we look at, yes, their financials, but also like, what are their, like, how do they feel about money? Are they savers? Are they spenders, like behaviorally? Are they risk takers? Are they risk averse? Are they people that want security, or are they people that want, to have lots of experiences? Like what is actually sort of underlying these people from a behavioral point of view? What is it? What's important to them? Is social status more important, or is family and lifestyle more important? What are the problems? So what is it that they actually, what do they want in life? Like my husband and I have a very different vision of what our future looks like than what some of our friends do. Like it's just, and the way that the financial advisor works with us is different. Like the type of advisor we work with is different to someone that my friends might work with. And it's also like understanding what their problems and challenges and worries are. So when they go to bed at night, what are the niggles what are they thinking, feeling, seeing around them that's going to make them want to reach out for advice? Like it's very much the nuances. And the more you can understand, like I say, just profile it, write all this stuff down. And the more that you kind of start brainstorming, you start to build a picture of an actual person. And then it means when you're communicating, you're doing your marketing, you're writing your web copy, you're speaking directly to them. You're using words that they would use. You're showing that you understand them and what they're going through, and that you're really there as a guide to help solve their problems, to help them go from where they are now to where they want to be. And I mean, that's not a short answer, but I'm in what I do, I can help anyone. And I do work with other types of people on the side through sort of other types of businesses. But the reason I work with financial advisors, and there's kind of specific in the background, I've got other criteria. It's not really just financial advisors. It's a certain type of financial advisor, an advice business. And that means that it helps people self-identify like straight away. I think people can go, well, that's my vibe. I like that kind of vibe. It means that when people reach out and book appointments, they're more likely warm leads because they've already self-identified. And you know how you just said, I'm jumping a little bit here, but about that whole, if someone had a choice between a few advisors, I've actually,
Mhm.
one advisor has said to me a couple of times that people have said to him, because his messaging is very specific. He helps under 55s, and he's got a certain vibe about him, really relatable. And he's had people say, look, we had five options locally that we were, looking at. But when we, read your website and read some of your LinkedIn stuff, we realized that you just totally get people like us. So that's why we've booked in with you. And this advisor has like a 75-80% conversion from his appointment, that first call, through to someone who becomes an ongoing client, because he's so clear about who he helps. And he's shown that he really understands the underlying issues, because we're all kind of different, but there are some, it's really nuanced, but it's really powerful when it all kind of, you see it all kind of take shape, from when people like profile their clients to then getting a grasp of their personality and joining the two. So when, you get it out online, it's just really authentic.
I love that. And another way that our we come at things totally different ways. I don't have a marketing background like you do. Next week in my Extraordinary Advisor Masterclass, we're teaching about attracting perfect fit clients. And
Are
so,
you?
yes. And so what you're doing is then what I didn't hear you say, but I'm going to add the end to, or another part of that is, not only are you attracting people that are going to be a fit, but then you're going to like working with them, because you're not going to put, and they're a jerk. And I only work with jerks, right? Like, because there's psychographics part too, besides who they
Yes.
are. But then,
and that's what I said. Yeah. With my advisors, there's a certain type of advisor. Yeah.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you want a practice where you're attracting the people you work best with, because you'll serve them the best. They'll refer all their friends to you who are hopefully like them. And what I'm hearing you say is, let some of the pre-work do some of the attracting for you. It's in addition to the networking you're doing with centers of influence. And actually, I'm imagining the work that you do with helping people clarify their messaging helps them when they're having a conversation with an accountant or an attorney who's referring people, because they're more clear on who they can help. Is that true?
100%. And that's why I've sort of got that relatable, memorable, referable, because then you are clear. And I say, say you have referral partners, they've got a client sitting in front of them. You want that light bulb to go off in their brain going, oh, I've got the perfect person who can help you, because they help people exactly like you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And also, I've had another advisor say to me, he goes, I don't know what it is, but like, we hadn't even started doing his messaging. We just profiled his clients. So we got really clear on it. And he goes, I just had someone book in that's exactly that person. And so, like, I do believe in if you get it really clear, the universe will, like, you're clear, you're putting it out
100%.
there. And then I feel that that's happened to me in what I do. Like, the clients we're working with, it gives me goosebumps. Like, Ainsley and I we're like, oh, these are like dream clients. Like, and it's a real buzz when you get to help people, it's so much more of a buzz. The difference between, and I haven't had it for a long time, but in my career, obviously, where you see an appointment coming up and you're just filled with dread because you're like, oh, this person's going to suck my soul. That's not how we want to run businesses. You want to you see appointments and you're like, oh, I can't wait to talk to this person. And and with financial advisors, like, they're building long-term relationships. They're building, like, ultimately it's becomes like friendship, and that's pretty amazing. And it all starts with being really clear. It's kind of like when you make friends and the people you connect with, it's the same on a business level. You want to have people in your orbit that really light you up, not that suck your soul.
Yeah. And that's the part where, if you're making more money and having more fun, the business you do attract more of that. So what I'm hearing so far is when advisors can be very clear on not just the demographics like age, blah,
Mm,
blah, blah, a woman,
mm.
like, and if any of you are out there saying I work in the women's niche, stop that. It's not a niche. We're 51% of the
Yeah,
population and all women
it's
aren't the
funny. Yeah.
same. But to be even more clear, is so that's the first thing. And so how does so this whole industry is built on trust. And oh, the other thing, I can't imagine you have any on any of your websites where it says, we have integrity and we're your trusted advisor. Like I'm
No,
like, oh, if you have
no.
to tell people you have integrity.
It's like
Yeah.
the real estate ads I see when I'm like, we're honest, we're trustworthy. You're like, you should be. Like that's
Right.
not what makes you any different. They are like expected baseline expectations. Like what makes you different is other things. Like that that's at the heart of like maybe you're straight talkers or maybe like it, I profile advisors and clients and everyone's really different. So it's yeah, everyone is really different. Even though advisors might go, no, I do the same as old mate down the road. You might do technically the same thing, but you definitely do it differently. And you definitely have your own perspective and values and things that are influencing the type of advice you're providing.
Yeah, I love that. So how does being more clear on this or having a more relatable brand, how does that emanate trust with people? Or talk a little bit more about some of your material mentioned authenticity to strengthen client relationships. What do you mean by that?
So, I mean, like, I always say the marketing world, there shouldn't be any difference between the marketing world and the real world. So, when people meet you in real life, they should already sort of know you and be familiar with you. And so there's no surprises. So it's not like you've catfished them and you're something online that you're not in person, like it should just feel seamless. And that's like how we very much like to work with advisors. So, on their websites, we like to have photos of them and their team and not in suits. If they don't wear suits for appointments, don't wear a suit. Do not wear a suit on your website. If you just want it to feel really just people, we're all humans, right? And it doesn't matter whether you've got $10 million or 500, like we're still humans. It doesn't mean that I think people, financial advisors get caught up in this kind of, I've got to look a certain way so people
Mm.
think I'm professional, but that's actually kind of out the window now because I think people want to work with people who they obviously want to know that you've got the street cred and everything like that, but people definitely want people that feel real and genuine and that they can, I think, and particularly in the age of AI and all of that, and the fact that there's so little service left in the world, that people just want to feel, particularly when it comes to your money, it's kind of like building a new relationship. You've just got to be yourself, and you've got all the street cred behind you. And I think, look, I did it as well. Because I don't talk polished. I don't write polished. I'm me, right? I'm filtered and I used to kind of try to be someone else, like kind of a chameleon, and it didn't work because that wasn't me. So look, when I talk about being authentic, you still need to show that you have the streets, like the smarts, right? So
Of
doing
course.
things like telling stories, like your own, but showing some vulnerability, but also using stories, your own stories, client stories, like, and I'm talking about like say anywhere online, like if you're posting on social media or you're speaking about stuff, use stories and analogies to help people connect the dots of what you're talking about. Because I think, and a lot of advisors are technicians, and I mean, I know what it's like when you've got all this knowledge rolling around in your head. Sometimes it's hard to simplify it. But a way to be authentic is to, explain things in a way like you would to your mates after a couple of beers at a barbecue. Like just that's how people want to understand the money side.
Yeah, and then I imagine that lowers their stress level a lot because money is so stressful. There is a, I think it was bankrate.com study. That might not be who did the study, but found that 47% of Americans say that their stress about money is affecting their mental health. 40,
Oh
half,
yeah.
half the population. And eMoney did a survey that found that there's a 61% increase in satisfaction with someone's advisor if they can help the client reduce their stress level around money.
Mm.
And, right now, I mean, I think AI is going to actually get there, but in the meantime, it doesn't mean they're going to replace advisors. And that more than ever to stand out in an authentic way just makes so much sense, everything you're talking about, to be relatable. And I would just add, I think this was inferred in what you said, but to look like your picture. There's so many
Oh
advisor
yeah, but
websites, and I'm like, your hair isn't down to your waist anymore, or you don't have a beard anymore, you're not wearing glasses, like you do not look like you're, or that was 20 years ago, clearly. Like an updated picture.
that catfish red flag is what that is. So like, like you look like something online and people meet you and it's like, this isn't the same person. I had a client, and because I do most of my stuff online, but I went to see them in person and they kind of went, oh my goodness, it looks like you stepped out of your website. It's like, okay. Like, yeah, that's what we're going to do for you as well. Like, it's kind of like there shouldn't be, it's not that like there's online and here's real life. It's like, it just should be seamless.
Yeah, cool. So what are some actionable steps that advisors can take to, you, as you say, to become more swipe rightable for their ideal clients?
Okay, so first of all, work out who your ideal clients are. So, like, yes, the demographics, but also like what are their problems? What do they want? What's their kind of outlook on money? Where are they in terms of, it's not just age, but the stage of life. Like there's a very big difference between age and stage these days. So I would say be really clear about that. And then once you've got those ideal clients in mind, pick one, pretend you're that client, Google. Go down and Google yourself. So Google your name and Google your business. See what you find. What are the links? What are the pictures? What's your Google profile look like? Are there reviews on there? If not, you need to get some reviews. First thing I would always say is optimize your Google profile and have a look at all your links. This is what people are doing, right? Think behaviorally what your potential clients could be doing. So Google yourself, fix your Google profile, jump on your website. If only the only thing you do is that hero section when people land, if the only thing you initially do is change that so it says what you do, who you help, and how you make their life better, then do that. And then, I would say you start to build on making sure that your message speaks to those ideal clients. So the steps would be profile some ideal clients, pretend you're them, Google yourself, and then slowly work through fixing any of the touch points online where people are finding you. Make sure you're putting your absolute best foot forward, but authentically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it really does matter. So if you think it doesn't, and even if you have to use one of these standardized websites, just make it look different. Because otherwise, I mean, the other thing is I know you help people with newsletters and posting, or at least a schedule. I don't know if you that I'm imagining that's part of like what you're advising people on. I don't know if how involved you get with that.
We help more with the sort of foundational stuff. So doing the visual brand and messaging, and we do set up like newsletters in terms of structure, but then we have other people we get to then execute ongoing.
So I get in a couple of the advisors I coach at the exact same time, I get the exact same newsletter from them. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, okay.
And they're not alike. I mean, they're both lovely, But I was
Yes.
like, and
Oh,
I
it's
said,
the
what?
same newsletter. So yeah, there's a lot. So this is what I would say. Don't contribute to the noise because it's not doing you any favors. So I was talking to an advisor yesterday and she's just rebranded and everything. And we're going to start working together next year to do more of her sort of ongoing communications. And she's like, there's just so much rubbish and noise out there. And that's not what clients want from you. Like they want your perspective. So you don't have to give them war and peace, but if something's happening, you don't have to wait for the month, that same date every month. Send them like a quick video of your thoughts on this particular
Yeah,
thing. A quick, like, it doesn't, the old kind of newsletter style where you have 4 articles and they're really technical. People don't, that's not, if they're already your client, they already hope that you've got the technical side.
yeah,
You're really just staying in touch with them. It's more around the behavioral stuff. The EQ stuff is what people want.
yeah. Cool. I love that. So, Lisa, although you're in Australia, we've figured out how to work our time zones out. If people here, where most of the people that watch Horse's Mouth and my videos are, if they want to find out more about you, where should they go?
Okay, so you can link up with me on LinkedIn, which I'd love to connect with you. So it's Lisa Greensill. You visit us online at brandover.au. Now, we both, Ainsley and I, who is my co-collaborator, we are both morning people, which works perfectly because it times perfectly with everyone in the US. So, jump online, and if you'd like to have a chat, we'd love to chat to you. You can book at brandover.au for a chat.
Yeah, and I encourage you all to find Lisa on LinkedIn, and it's Greensill, Greensill, and then go to her websites. Like even if you're looking for someone to help, cool, book an appointment with Lisa. And even if you just want to see what something really good looks like, her website, examples of clients they've worked with, and you'll see how that's different than most of the things that most advisors are doing. And then Lisa, I know you have a free download, and we'll put this link in, but if it's at Brandover, BRAND over, OVER dot AU/home/hashtag freebie.
Yep.
And do you want to mention that a bit about the download for
It's
me?
really just some tips on how to be relatable, memorable, and referable. Just some practical things you can do. I mean, it's a big, there's lots of things you could do. So it's really an insight into some of the things you can do.
So great. So again, I'll put that link in the description here. But I am just so glad that our friend Cole Fink introduced us. I'm
We love Cole.
excited. I mentioned to you that it's probably a 2025, maybe 2026 goal to do another redo on my website because I just did it. It might have been this year. I can't even
I love
remember.
no,
It
but I
feels
love see your website has incredible messaging because I went there and it speaks to people. So when you're reading it, a good website is one where people go, I feel like you've read my mind, and
yeah.
yours does that.
Well, thank you. And for those of you out there, I had somebody help me with it. So it doesn't mean you can be not that maybe you're awesome at marketing, but maybe you need to hire somebody to help you with this because maybe you're a better financial advisor than you are copywriter and brand person. So certainly check out Lisa, what she's doing. And yeah, so thank you so much for sharing all these ideas with us today, Lisa. I'm so grateful.
Thank you, Ellen. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and thank you all for listening. I hope you got some ideas about how to target your ideal perfect fit client and that you'll tweak maybe it's more than a tweak with your branding and your marketing. The question to ponder today is how are you going to be more swipe rightable? And remember, be great and create great every single day. But don't leave yet because I forgot to mention. If you want to learn more, hello, Ellen. Let's talk about some marketing. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to ellenrogin.com. And if you want to get my free download on what extraordinary advisors know that others don't, you can go to ellenrogan.com/horse's mouth. So that's it. Goodbye.